The question which was asked was how to pass the silence. By the way, I have a two-share series on this topic, which I would have to look up, called "Oh No, you have a shiloh and no rabbi to ask. What do you do?" But that's not really exactly what you're asking. So you're asking really what the mahalach in coming to abstract and theoretical psakim, how that works. So there are many different drachim.
What's mahalach?
What did you say? The way, the protocol. So there are many different approaches. The most radical approach would be that of the Rogachover. The Rogachover just ignored all halachic literature was written after the Rambam, and he paskins on the basis of Gemaras and Rambams. That's it. He doesn't look at anything which came after the Rambam, not even Shulchan Aruch. This goes back to the Gemara, back to the Rambam, and that's that.
Well, can you give an example of who he did that? Because the Rambam already simplified, so why is he going back to the Gemara example?
Because some things the Rambam didn't make clear, sometimes the Machlekes Rambam and Ravid, and sometimes he'll use the Rambam to understand the Gemara. Just say, he even Rishonim, he might look at places, might use the place occasionally, but he usually uses his own Gemaras with his own application. And he takes the Gemara, applies it, and that's that. For example, something I discussed here a few weeks ago, when he says that there's no issur to dye the hairs of the beard. Remember that? We mentioned this, didn't we? There's no other passage you're allowed to dye your beard. So, what? Beard, not hair. What are we pointing at exactly?
No, I'm saying, like, it's continuous. Why make a stop? The hair is continuous.
Okay, so he says, because it's not, if there's no issue of lo yubash, of looking like woman, because the hair of the beard is different than the hair of the head anyway. It's more, what's the word? It's not as fine. It's more rough, right? So they're scruffy. So therefore, he says, it's not a problem.
But women don't have beards.
Could enjoy use that as well. But the point is that he doesn't look at the postscript to see if anybody discussed it before, what they would have said, what the issues are. He just says, that's the way it is. When Rogachover was asked whether he makes tefillas aderech, not tefillas aderech, birkas hagoyimel, when you fly, he said no, because it says that who makes birkas hagoyimel? Somebody who went through a derech, went on the road. And it says, Gemara and Chulin says that if you find a net floating in midair, there's no mitzvah of shiluach haken. You don't have to send away the mother bird, because derech avir lo yikri derech. Says ki yikri ken tzipor f'necha but derech you find on the road, and Gemara says derech avir is not a derech. So therefore he said, some of you flew wasn't in the category of ovei drachin. So it doesn't make birkas hagoyimel. So again, that's taking that Gemara, which really has nothing to do with tefillas haderech. What that tefillas would make without bracha, but anyway, it's not considered a bracha really from most people anyway.
So say it or no?
Tefillas haderech? You can say tefillas haderech. No, we also most people say birkas hagoyimel also.
Derech is the same thing. If you can't do goyimel, you can't do derech.
No, because derech can do mokum saklana even if it's not.
The road?
Yeah, even if it's not on the road, yeah. Okay. Even if you're not going long enough to make a birkas hagoyimel. So these are stretching back to Gemaras and passing based on Gemaras.
Is it possible that he knew of all the opinions and he just rejected them?
No, he didn't care about all the opinions.
Are you certain about
the Rogachover? Oh, yes.
Okay,
yeah. So then you have the other extreme, which is Rav Ovadia. Rav Ovadia takes every single possible sefer into account. The ones you heard of, the ones you didn't hear of, the ones you will never hear of. He takes them all into account when he passes because he has a photographic memory and he memorized all these books and he knows everything they say and he takes them into account. Now it's interesting because this was a critique with the Chazon Ish had of Tzvi Pesach Frank. Tzvi Pesach Frank was the Rav of Yerushalayim, very, very significant Talmid Chacham. And he used to, when he paskin, the Chazon Ish said, he paskin on the basis of Svarim, which were written by people who were less chashuv than he was. I mean, at some point, if you're going to quote everybody, you're going to quote people who are even lower madrega than you in Psak. So I'm not saying Rav Avadia does that. He probably has the discretion to know when to stop. And the truth is that he probably did not rely on these people. He just quotes them. But in any event, that is to take into account everybody. And what they say about Rav Avadia, which is not correct, it's not true, it's a stereotype, is that, he counts. So you can see after he told us up the totals, and then he comes to a conclusion based on totaling up which has more poskim on each side, on which side. First of all, it can't be true because it's a weighted majority. It doesn't go by absolute numbers. Both Reb Moshe Feinstein passed in one way, and Rabbi Moron and Rabbi Shmoron passed in the other way. So Rabbi Moron and Rabbi Shmoron together don't equal one Reb Moshe Feinstein, right? So therefore, this has to be a weighted value, not a absolute value. So I'm sure Rav Avadia does make the weighted value. Now, but the thing is like this: he does take into account many different approaches and many different svarim before he comes to a conclusion. And because he takes account so many svarim, so many vantage points, he doesn't use lumdus as much as the Lithuanian posek would. It's a certain phenomenon. Lumdus sometimes can only happen if you don't know too much. And if you know too much, sometimes it impedes on your lumdus.
Everything's already been said.
Right. So therefore, that's why that's what allows Lithuanian yeshiva bachrim to look down on Rav Avadia Yosef, which is an amazing thing. But you shmendrik, you know nothing, right? And you look down on Rav Avadia Yosef, so they would say, no, he's not a lamzin, right? So because he doesn't get into lumdus.
You have Brisker Rav, who I think is one of the biggest lamzins, and yet he never decided Psak Halacha because he was too lumdish in it that he couldn't come out with Psak Halacha.
Right, they consider that to be a Meir.
So I can. So you see that being lumdish is not going to come out to Psak Halacha.
Yeah, because you can't live with.
You can't live. Yeah, you can't live.
You can't decide if the chicken is kosher if you can't.
So they in Lithuanian yeshivas, pure lumdus is superior to actual Psak Halacha.
Okay, but then how do you go with halacha? I can't say is this kosher or treif.
That seems fundamentally flawed.
Look at the Mishnah Berurah.
I mean, on several occasions he has a psak, but at the end of the day, that's not what the
No.
The Mishnah Berurah doesn't come with
the he has, he takes them into account, and then he paskins based on you who says what.
I'm just telling you, I'm not agreeing with this perspective. I'm just telling you the perspective.
Yeah.
So the middle derech is kind of like the Tzitz Eliezer and Moshe Feinstein and Shlomo Zalman. They take into account the more famous svarim, like if there's a Chasam Sofer or a Meir Yehuda or something of that sort, they would not ignore that, right? But they wouldn't necessarily know or feel a need to go into what other people said who have lesser stature. So therefore, that became kind of like the middle derech in Psak. So the middle derech in Psak would flow like this. Ideally speaking, you start from a sugya, but you can also start from the Shulchan Aruch and work your way backwards and forwards. You can even start from a tshuva and work your way backwards altogether. So now, how would you do it? You, again, forward from the beginning, from the middle, or from the end. From the beginning means you do the Gemara. This is how the way they train you, ideally, to learn halacha, to come to halachic conclusions at the end of every sugya. Let's say you learn the sugya in Ketzah Mevorchim, in brachas, about Shini Makom, the next parak, whatever it is, the end of brachas. Shini Makom B'Suda, where you change. You move around during the Suda, right? Or the Sugya in Parak Kira, in Masechet Shabbos, third parak, as to what you need in order to do leave something on the fire on Shabbos, Chazara, put something back on Shabbos, right? There are major machlokes in here, most of which are in the Rishonim. So you start from the Gemara. You learn the Rishonim. You try and infer from how each Rishon learned the Gemara, of course. Then you move to the Gedolei Rishonim, What? Well, it depends. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's good. Obviously, it's learned like the commentary on the Rif, the Bukayesif, or the Rabbeinu Yonason, or whoever it is in that Masech, or the Ran, and also to learn all the things which come after them. The first thing which comes after them is the tour, right?
Do you skip Mahasha and Maharam and you skip them?
Unless you have something where you need to learn Psak. You don't have to do the Mahasha and Maharam when it comes to Halacha. So now you come to the posting. So you go to the Shulchan Aruch in the tour. And the tour with Beis Yosef. Because the Beis Yosef, and you can work backwards in Beis Yosef. And sometimes you only have to do the Beis Yosef.
Doesn't it bring the whole sugya?
Because what did Beis Yosef do? He brings down the whole sugya with the Rishonim, and usually comes to some sort of conclusion. And if the Ashkenazic posting disagrees, so then the Torah Moshe, that's what it's called. I forget if that's the name. Torah Moshe. The Ramah's commentary on Torah, he brings down the Rishonim, the Ashkenazim who disagree. So, so that's how you can master the sugya, either starting from the Gemara or working backwards from Beis Yosef, and sometimes even just learning the Beis Yosef. Now, after you've done that, so you go to the relevant part of the Shulchan Aruch. So the relevant part of the Shulchan Aruch, depending on what kind of question, Chaim, question, Mishpat, the day Even Ezer. And then you see how the Shulchan Aruch and what the Ramah say, and you take into account what the commentaries, the standard commentaries which on the page of Shulchan Aruch say, if it has bearing on the issue, right? And then, if you're Sephardic, you'll try and pass it on the basis of what the Mechaber says. If you're Ashkenazic, you'll try and pass it on the basis of what the Ramah says. But, what?
Let's say you learn the sugya, and now the sugya looks to you more like what the Ramah says. That's what it looks like.
Right.
Against what the Mechaber says, against what you should be holding.
Right.
Like you've understood, but you're learning like the Ramah or the Grazwell.
You're stuck. You can't do that.
So why don't you just go straight to Mechaber then?
Because you're not going to understand all the issues which went into it necessarily, which then will be necessary perhaps for you to then understand how to extrapolate from it. In other words, it's kind of like a barbell. Barbell's not the right term.
Pyramid building up?
Inverse pyramids, right? You build up to that point, which is Shulchan Aruch Ramah, and then you you go broader again, right? The hourglass, right? So Shulchan Aruch Ramah are like the neck of the hourglass, right? So you really, because all the points on the hourglass correspond to other points on top of the hourglass, you can't just say, well, you know what, I'm just going to start from the top. Because sometimes the points transcend that, and you have to, in order to understand what says later on, the Magen Avraham, let's say, or the Kaf HaChaim disagree, or they bring down poskim who disagree. So what's the basis of that? Where's it coming from? Is it reliable? So it's taken into account. And they have to go back and figure it out. Now,
other than the rules that the Shach, but that's the rules you go to the Baitaz, or the Shach, no? Like in
yes, you always go by the Shach.
So you have to know that also in the account.
Right, except where we don't.
Yeah, but I know. But we always do that.
No, because in Europe, especially, there are loopholes. There are loopholes called. Anybody know any loopholes?
Used to.
Hefsed Merubah.
Yeah.
Great laws.
Someone buys.
Covered Shabbos. Right? Honor of Shabbos. Right? Shas Adchak. That's Shalom Bayis. Shas Adchak, when there is pressure. Right? So all those cases, you could go like a Taz over a Shach.
But Taz is more lenient?
No, not necessarily. We're saying
fine, but
the Shach would have better brain, and so he.
Because what does it mean when we say that the Shas Adchak can go like that person? You say really that person has a legitimate opinion. It's just that for whatever reason the preponderance of opinion of the custom is against him, but his opinion is sufficient for rock bottom.
How about the explain himself better than himself?
Well, the Taj is much longer. That's why you think he doesn't explain himself as well. Because
what makes?
You're right. The Shach had a gift of writing. The Taj had the misfortune of writing opposite the Magen Avraham and Chaim, and opposite the Shach in Yeridea.
How can we describe what he has to say? Like, why do we always know we're all gonna go by Taj most of the time? Why isn't that like each person should decide himself whose opinion he feels is more appropriate. And then
It was already decided by people
I'm
before.
saying like who made that decision? Oh well, God, okay, you know, again, Abraham is doing stuff.
Today, you can make that decision in the Ashkenazic world. Still, B'Shin Aruch HaShulchan Aruch Mishnah Berurah. You can't go back to the Shach and Taz.
You can't. No. So, but who was the one who made that decision?
Well, Moshe could. The generation of morons cannot.
Fine, but like, who was the one that said Nagid Abraham overrules Shah? Like, who was the one that said that?
It became really the custom.
The custom of everybody in Torah.
It became the custom of the Lomdim. It kind of became this is the way people sense. This is the way it should go.
Where's the growth thing?
They say it's because the Taz, Magen Avraham, I think, or one of the two, Taz and the Shach, they say it's because the Taz wanted to suppress publication of the other Sefer, so therefore he was punished from Shammai. That Halacha always goes like the Magen Avraham over him. Yeah.
Well, what is the growth in all of this?
The Gra sometimes will have his own opinion, which diverges, and especially people who follow Minhag Gra will follow his Minhag.
It's usually very short though. Like,
Let me give you an example. In Uvalid I once went to a Lubavitcher and complained to him. I say, you guys, why don't you say out loud Kadosh and Baruch in Uvalid
doesn't it say like that's what the world stands on? Anywhere or something? Like, it's like a big thing in Shemai or something?
It doesn't say they have to say it out loud anywhere. So he said to me, this Lubavitcher, he said, show me where it says in Halacha.
So you have to say it loud?
Yeah. They have to say it out loud. Satanist doesn't say it. So I had egg all over my face on that one. So
then you ask me why did you sing it?
So what? So I actually just saw this Simchat Torah that said that the Minhag Gra was at first to say it silently, and then the Gra decided to say it out loud. So it seems that the Gra might have even generated the Minhag to say it out loud.
Why does Spartan say it out loud?
What?
Why does Spartan
I don't know. But it's not Halacha. Doesn't Spartan say everything out loud?
No, we don't say that out loud. That's like a very big thing.
And we have to say it.
You don't say the whole volume besides the Aramaic part out loud?
You say all of it except the Aramaic out loud.
Okay, so...
But the Kadosh part is like louder than usual.
Louder?
And everybody says it, and then same with the...
Could be they pick up from Ashkenazim, I don't know.
No, Rabbi actually made a big thing about like how you have to say it no matter where you are, because now that you're after the...
Oh yeah, he made a big deal about it.
Yeah, he made a big deal about it. Like you have to respond, like all these things happen.
And you have to say it together with the Chazan, you have to take a whole Kabbalistic apparently. Yeah, I remember that.
Very fired about that. He's very...
Okay, so there are methodologies in Psak in terms of... Okay. There are, for example, if I have I think we discussed this once, if I have a second or third level Rishon,
yeah.
Do I have to paskin like him? Or can I say, because an issue was not brought down in Shulchan Aruch, I'm free to paskin as I want, because the second or third level Rishon doesn't play a role in my halachic decision making. Okay? So that's why there's a machlokas, for example, between Rav Ovadia Yosef and Tzitzi Eliezer, where the person can enter a mosque. Because the Ran says that the veneration which the Muslims have for Muhammad is Avodah Zarah.
Wow.
So it says, therefore, according to the Ran, you can't enter a mosque. But so that's Tzitzi Eliezer, possibly can enter a mosque. Yeah. But Rav Ovadia said, okay, the Ran said it, but the Rambam and Shulchan Aruch didn't say it. So if the Rambam and Shulchan Aruch didn't say it, I'm not mechuyev to pass them like a Ran. Okay? Which is a pliya, but what the Rav Ovadia holds, and that also is what it seems Briskers hold, at least some of them, is that you don't have to take into account some Rishon who was not part of the Mesorah of Halacha at the mainstream highest level. They say that Paul Lieberman, who was the head of the Talmud department at Jewish Theological Seminary, once met Rabbi Soloveitchik, Rabbi Yosheber. They were talking very excitedly about some new finds that they had found in Gaonic literature, in manuscripts, which were things written by the Gaonic. Very, very ancient. So Leach is supposed to have been unimpressed and to have said, the Zayda Hockey can't learn and best of the Asach Goin. The grandpa, the Reb Chaim, could learn better than many of the Goin. So, what he's saying, besides the Soloveitchik centric view of the universe, what he's saying is that, there are, they call them, they have a special name for them. The Matike Ashmua. Matike Ashmua means the people who copy, but don't copy just in the sense of copying the words. They copy and transmit the Shmuos, the halachas from generation to generation. Those have to be taken into account. The Tom, Dick, and Harry go on him, yeah? Not all of them, no. That was his point.
Yeah, I have a question now. Is there a room for Kula Homer? Meaning, by Homer, maybe it's true we don't have to take into consideration once already the Shulchan Aruch was make on something and the Yosam Rishon that is very machmir on it. So maybe in a situation we don't take into account, but in a situation where there is a Kula, will that play a different role?
The Kula where?
In one of the other Rishonim that is out there. That was not mentioned by the Mechaber.
So it's interesting, the Ramah says that if you find a Sefer which had the Achronim known about it, they would have said, oh, we gotta follow that guy, that Sefer. Right? So then, you change the halacha, you overturn the halacha. But the Chazon Ish said if you find a Sefer which was not part of the chain of Masorah, you can't reintroduce it at a later stage. So that's why he would not possible, for example, on the basis of a but Rishon was basically lost and then we found. Rishon starts with a mem.
Can we do this as a last question?
Hashanah's Nachman.
So do we know him? Is he famous? How do we know? Where do we know him from?
He's on all the shelves in the yeshivas.
Mahara?
It's Achron.
Mahara is not one?
Yeah. 16. The Meiri.
Oh, the Meiri. Really? It was found later on?
Yes.
We don't take into account?
According to Chazon Ish.
But you wrote the whole shot.
So what about...
It doesn't matter. Chazon Ish is saying if it wasn't part of the Masorah, there's Ashkocha. It wasn't part of the Masorah. You can use it for Psak and Gemara. You can do anything you want with it.
Nobody uses Meiri. I don't see people use that. Like, someone mentioned Meiri.
It depends which Masechta. There's certain Masechtas which Meiri is more useful than others. Well, and Masechta happens to be Masechta Shabbos. The basis, basis are useful. Makas is useful. There are certain Masechtas where it's more useful.
I think maybe once.
It has to do, I'll tell you the secret. You know what it depends on? How good the notes are in the edited edition.
Because it's very hard?
No, because the notes would make Lini Rishonim feel more geschmack. More useful.
Why?
Because the notes expand and bring applications or counter arguments, and then that's why notes are helpful.
So what about people making or groups making their own Minhagim or Halachot nowadays? Like Lubavitch has to switch either Sifra Sukkah or that.
What about it?
Or Hasidim stop to pray after 10 o'clock, which is after social months. I'm just wondering, how do they make up their own?
No, they don't.
How do they possibly?
No, what they do is they rely on. What they're doing is taking what was once upon a time a shot by Psak, and something you could do when in a pinch, and making it l'chatchila. So what they're doing is, like, for example, by Sukkah, they use Kabbalistic justification. What? Yeah.
Big deal. Every Sephardi would follow that same thought.
They have their own brand of Kabbalah, not your brand of Kabbalah.
That's right, I guess.
I was trying to tell it to me, the Kabbalah, and like...
So they're relying really on an application of but what they're really relying on, halachically, is an application of the principle of mitzvah potum min sukkah, because they would have anguish if they slept in the sukkah. No, I'm saying that's the halachic justification for their behavior. Right?
But they wouldn't have anguish.
Want to hear why?
They would, because the sukkah is so holy, how can you sleep in the sukkah?
They don't have that anguish. Only that tzaddik would have been able to have sensed it.
Right, but they have anguish that they're not the tzaddik, you know.
When sleeping in a sukkah shouldn't bring them to that anguish. Living their everyday lives shouldn't bring them to that anguish.
It does. But they have to sleep every day.
They have to drink what?
So how does sleeping in a sukkah change that reality? They're the same, like, tircha, whether they're in the sukkah or in their house, so why not just have the tircha in the sukkah when you're supposed to?
That's kirchel. It's feeling sad in the sukkah.
Okay, well,
Feeling
I
angry.
feel like the sukkah's not there to be sad.
You have your opinion, they have their opinion. Live and let live. What do you want? You're asking me what they hold, not what you hold.
I mean, I'm not saying that I always sleep in the sukkah either. I'm just saying that
Right.
I feel like
But you don't sleep in the sukkah because you're lazy, and they don't sleep in the sukkah because they're mitzvah from it.
I didn't really the star, but it's like
No, not necessarily. But that's the shot in extrapolating. I had that from somewhere. Since there is a loophole for not sleeping in the sukkah, you can latch on to it.
okay, so they don't sleep in the sukkah because they're afraid of the shekhinah, but they'll eat in the sukkah.
You know, they don't decorate the sukkah either.
But why do they eat in the sukkah when it's raining?
What?
Why do they eat in the sukkah when it's raining?
Again, because it's not also, except according to the Rav. It's interesting.
I saw like 10 Babish just come to our sukkah here, and it was like pouring down rain, and they would go get a cup of water, and they would take it out in the sukkah and get rained on, and then it would ruin their hat, and then they would come back inside, and their hat would get more ruined, and they went out again.
It's not usher, see in the sukkah in the rain.
I was just saying,
It's not usher. And it says just you're an idiot.
period.
So they say, okay, we're willing to be idiots as long as we can eat in the sukkah.
But we won't sleep in it.
Right. And they also don't decorate it.
that makes not fun for the kids though. How do the kids smell like sukkah if they're decorated?
And maybe they don't.
Oh yeah. My
What
question.
about Suda Shlishi?
A love?
What?
Suda Shlishi.
So Suda Shlishi says there is an opinion which is brought down in Yotzei Divrei Torah. It's very difficult, it's very hard to sustain, but there is such an opinion.
So it says what?
The Yotzei Divrei Torah.
Can I rely on such a thing?
No.
What if you're full from your meal?
No.
You come out for a breakfast meal.
It's brought down in the posting. I don't know.
How can they suddenly posting like these opinions whenever their official posting doesn't
You
post
don't pay or an apple, you're fine.
the Alter Rebbe or whatever they call it?
Because
Rabbi Shnetzal.
in Hasidus they proceed very often from their what they want to be to what the halacha therefore should be.
Is that allowed?
No difference in...
Is that allowed? What do you mean I said that?
It's like me sitting outside of a bike shop saying, I want a bike, I want a bike, I want a bike. But that doesn't mean I'm allowed to like be like, well, the Halacha should let me take a bike whenever I want.
No, but again, they're exploiting loopholes. Where the religion will exploit you loopholes. How many times do I have to say this? That we have loopholes, and they exploit the loopholes aggressively because they feel that this is something which enhances their avodas Hashem. The davening rate is a loophole.
I thought if something is usher
Why is that avodas Zarah?
because you're making up your own Torah.
That's not avodas Zarah.
So that's what it was. It's Torah worship. I mean, even Moshinim, I thought you were supposed to.
Avodas Zarah means if you worship other gods.
But it's like you are because you're saying.
It's like you are because you're davening after Zman. What about if people get out lazy and get up late anyway?
I thought you were supposed to say it. I thought you were supposed to say 2 minchas, not on 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock shachar.
No. You can. B'shas of Chag.
I mean, there's a place on
Right.
Psak Avenue that's
But it's only when there's a modern Orthodox approach,
What?
halacha, that they first find out what they want, then define how they can get it.
Yeah.
And you given the mushroom yourself many times of the arrow and the target, so
Right. But the
so
difference,
they practice the attitudes towards
but the
halacha.
difference among the Hasidim is that at least at some level, they're trying, they are asserting, whether they're being truthful or not, that they're doing this for purpose of avodas Hashem. Like the Chassid who eats before davening, the Lubavitcher, only Lubavitchers eat before davening. They made it to mitzvah to eat before davening. Why is it mitzvah to eat before davening? It's against every halacha which we know, right? Because it gives you them you daven more kavanas. The Tzemach Tzedek made it supposed to be. What?
If you emaciated and you
Emaciated. Who's emaciated nowadays? Concentration camp survivors, they were emaciated. Who is emaciated?
Before davening.
I'm saying you woke up and you have a headache and you're not going to be able to daven unless you eat something.
No.
Yes.
No.
How could
No.
That's what the
Part of it is davening shachar at like 6 a.m.
I started about that home.
No. No.
You all took a piece of cake.
No. No.
Everything is a lot of that.
Have a cup of tea.
Yeah, any good.
No cake.
Rabbi,
Wait,
a rabbi told me.
if a person's not going to be able to daven, okay, he's not going to be able to daven because he's hungry. He's hungry.
Shlomo, I think you should go back to Lubavitch. Because the Tzemach Tzedek said, better to eat to daven than to daven to eat. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Because that was
Pretty much sure. You know what? I'll find it.
You won't. You won't because Gemara Bracha says it's an Isser of Gaiva.
No, but everybody else talks like. So if it's an Isser for the Gemara, then you just say like, oh, little give us Kavanah.
Because there's a loophole that a choila is allowed to eat. A choila is allowed to eat.
We're sick.
in the head. Yeah.
We're sick, yeah, we're sick in the head, exactly. We can't have a kavana, so we're like sick.
Okay, maybe they are because they're singing key and stuff. Okay, I get it.
Not a nice comment. Yeah.
I didn't mean it like that. I just meant like some of them are.
That's a good line. Yeah. Yeah.
He's gonna bring the
No, because they have like you know, that website. They have like they show people like eating on the fast days and stuff like that, and you're like,
That's not nature, Lubavitch. Those are nuts.
you heard it first.
The guys who eat on fast days,
Yeah, I think
they're nuts. They're insane.
of course.
They were putting hair on because of that.
Wait, who's doing this?
Some Lubavitchers.
In any specific place?
Australia and Spain.
What started it?
What?
The Rebbe came.
They said that the Mashiach's here already. You know, it's fast in Tisha B'Av.
So they started. But this was like a common thing or what? Did you start recently or what? I don't understand.
What?
Did you start recently or what?
Yes.
Okay, here.
Why would
He doesn't bring a single. Well, he brings down posting. He doesn't bring a single posting. All opinions. Why don't you read? Read them. We should read it aloud.
This is before Kiddush. Where's before that?
I'll see you through the whole thing.
So you have to read the whole
Why
thing.
do they sort of
Fine, how the post is better, that's
how
up.
can you go to a Hasidic place and say I'm into the bracha that goes after so much to you? Because he told me it was a bracha that was followed.
Rabbi.
What's going to do with us?
Yes, it does. You skip the line. In the morning.
In the morning, Sabbath is for a man to drink coffee or tea and to eat before the morning prayers.
There you go.
Okay, so that's the Lubavitcher. So there's nobody else.
Lubavitcher there.
He doesn't mention anybody.
Yes, he does. He brings the Mishnah Igrat Moshe and the Mishnah Berurah and
None of them are matir this.
I'm sure one of them brings down the opinion that is not there in front of all of it.
If it existed in a safer form. Yes, this is the Yalkut Yosef.
No, it's not. It's not that. Is that the other? No. This is the other guy, right? The guy, the kitchen guy.
Isn't that a scrum up already?
The kosher kitchen.
Yeah. That's the guy you read about.
The kosher kitchen shlita.
These are Ashkenazi folks.
Right.
Rabbi Paul Cohen Sway. Sway. How do you pronounce it? Yeah.
It's they.
Okay, fine. So we don't pass it because we don't think that it's Eliezer or some other thing.
What?
You said it's not there. You sure it's not in the Mishnah Berurah anywhere else? Down. Where did he get it?
I don't know.
It's the same way where the Rabbi says it's much to learn during
How am I supposed to answer questions from somebody who is a contemporary? We don't assume necessarily he knows everything he's talking about.
I would assume he double checked before you wrote something, to a certain extent.
Who's this Askama from?
Rabbi Yisrael.
Okay, ask yourself this: would Rabbi eat before davening?
Yeah, not talking about what he eat. I'm questioning about sick you. That's
Rabbi Yosef even Paskins, I think you're like barely allowed to have.
None of them read this book.
He says you're allowed to have coffee.
Hey, none of them read this book. They read his previous book.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, no, there's one here from Rabbi Belsky.
There you go.
How about a tea with
Which brings me to my other question.
By the way, people give out stomachs, they don't read the book.
Now you're trying to find an excuse. It's not
How do you know stomachs then?
What?
How can you know stomachs?
Yeah, stomach's not a person.
That's insane.
That's what you mean.
It's very customary.
Alright. Now, my other question was that if you have the Mechaber being disagreeing on let's say on your day and let's say I don't know if it's possible that you're a day or a Chaim disagree. Same Mechaber disagrees on certain issues, or with Ma disagrees and like this contradiction. How does one resolve the contradiction?
The Shach will tell you.
The Shach?
Is there a contradiction between Ramah in two places?
Yeah, or like,
yeah. Most of the Mepharshim have all dealt with these things already.
So how do they?
There are different ways to resolve them. Sometimes they leave them shver.
Sometimes what?
They leave them shver.
Okay, so now when also my other questions, I remember once we were learning the Psak, we learned it to about Rosh Hashanah or something, and then we were gonna go through Halacha, and so I remember we were learning the Psak, and I think maybe somebody else on this again, and he basically brought in the whole Gemara with all the opinions, until that point. So I like that we did a Beit Yosef, and he said the same exact thing the Beit Yosef said, and maybe he had 1 or 2 points, but it was the same exact what the Beit Yosef said, and what the Shulchan just quotes everybody who came before that, the Gemara.
Yeah, but the Taz sometimes it doesn't.
So why should I read all the previous? If he brings everything,
you're right. In that case, you don't necessarily have to. So let's want to check out if you think he's right or wrong.
If he gets to the same conclusion, see if he got.
Okay, I was going to figure out what it was.
Baruch Shulchan. Are you going to edit this part out of the film?
No, this is less far.
Oh, okay, so this is what I have to say. Listen, why to get it's actually not connected to this. Okay? If you want to know, I once gave like a series here. We had to how to prepare shiurim. Okay, I don't know if it was recorded. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. It's a different forum. So how to prepare shiur. So the way to prepare halacha shiur, or lecture, or talk, is to take a Tzitz Eliezer. A Tzitz Eliezer is the clearest posek in terms of how he structures a tshuva. He goes from Rishonim, from Gemara to Rishonim, to select Achronim, to Sforos, and to Halacha. Many others, you don't have to agree with the Tzitz Eliezer. There are many things which are subject to machlokes. But the best place to start, if you have to prepare halachic shiur, is the Tzitz Eliezer, because his gift of writing was the greatest. I would personally like mostly. I think Rav Shlomo Zalman's art logic is usually better than Tzitz Eliezer, but Rav Shlomo Zalman's tshuvas are very dense. It's not so easy to go through. Tzitz Eliezer reads beautifully. So if you ever have to give a halachic talk, or you want to know where to start to jump off to find things, the sources, Tzitz Eliezer is the place to start.
Did he bring everything down already?
No, he brings down a selection. He doesn't overwhelm you like Rav Ovadia does, especially in the Yabi Omer, right? He doesn't bring down almost nobody like a Rav Shava or a Moshe Feinstein, who also brought down very few poskim. So if a mamish would go to the Achronim, he brings down a selection of the major poskim. So that's what makes it easiest to prepare halachic shiur from him. And he'll talk back and forth about things.
Did the Tzitz Eliezer do all the arbitorum?
It's not in order. Because he put out 22 volumes over the years, each one of which has tshuvas on lots of stuff. So it's not as if you have to know where to look. No.
Just goes by the Shaila.
So
roughly in each volume he follows the pattern of Shulchan Aruch, but even that's very roughly.
So why don't we just make it like you have to guess if you know the stuff that you read it and make it into one book?
So Rav Ovadia, Baruch Hashem, has several sons of big Talmidei Chachamim. So Tzitz Eliezer had one son who was a Talmid Chacham who died before. So
he had students, right?
Maybe his grandchildren. He didn't have students. He was a Rav, not a Rosh Hashiva. Maybe his grandchildren. Who knows?
What's his full name?
Eliezer Yehuda Waldenberg.
So is he present? When did he live?
Passed away about in his mid-80s, I think, about 5 years ago, maybe.
So I have another question. If somebody was to write a postage nowadays, new postage, coming postage, to write a shura, to permit something, would he bring down Rav Ovadia Yosef as a shot?
Some yes, some no, not. Most would.
The ones that would.
Even the ones that wouldn't bring down Rav Kook would bring down Rav Ovadia Yosef.
Because the ones that would bring Rav Ovadia Yosef, my question is, and let's say they want to have a Psak against him, what isn't his opinion, like you said before, is based on the majority of opinion. So once you,
But we again, since we go by weight of majority, so in effect you can reject that.
but yeah, well, we actually take them into account as well somewhat.
But if you can, since Ravadi doesn't just count them, he uses their svaras, right?
Yeah.
So therefore, if you can counter the svara, you can counter many of them.
You can reject as well.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Can you also rub and tell them I need a kula?
You can, but you don't expect necessarily to give you kula.
They would ask why.
Just for the heck of
I
it.
need to mutter this chicken for me.
Yeah.
Like, can you? Oh, that's the rub has to be objective about. You can't.
No, it's
You
not
know
true.
how to ask a question.
If a poor person comes, he can be subjected because helping a poor person is a very big value in Judaism.
So the poor person says, "Look, I'm poor," and then you the poor person's like, "Here's my chicken," and the guy looks at you. I know you're poor, so I'll figure something out. But since that you come up to the person and say, "You know what? I want to carry on Shabbos. Make this happen."
Actually, remember, there was
You just ask questions so we can get the answer we want.
Yeah, how do you ask a question to get the answer you want?
I'll tell you what I did many years ago when I was a kid. I came back from Eretz Yisrael after 3 years in Eretz Yisrael. I didn't want to say Baruch Hashem Liolam, so I went to my uncle, who's a very chashuv, very chashuv, place Lubavitcher. So I asked him to have to say Baruch Hashem Liolam. So Lubavitch doesn't say Baruch Hashem Liolam. That's knowing how to ask to get the right psak. So he said, only if you're a shliach tzibur.
And
You go to Yekka to ask how long is the rate between meat and milk.
What is
no, you go to the Dutch.
What is Baruch Hashem Le'olam?
You guys don't say it. It's after Shomer Moisel Lad before Shemini Esrei. It's very long bracha.
It's a not course thing.
The other bracha after that.
Oh, the one we're not allowed to say mention?
Yeah.
Who say now say amen?
Every rabbi I've ever talked to.
Yeah.
I never found anybody who actually would tell me not to say amen.
No, it's party.
I don't know, so what?
He said,
Yeah, bracha.
he said it's also considered a step between the end of the tefillah, so it's also to say amen to that bracha, because it's a bracha they're not even supposed to say.
Can I ask it for a source?
Nope. I'm gonna have to ask But Rabbi Kakin told us this.
I did ask Rabbi Kakin. He said he brought down a Mishnah Berurah that brings down Shayach Legabeh. So you can answer amen to a bracha that you have shaykhs to.
What does that mean?
It means Spartan don't have any shaykhs to that.
We need to know Shabbos bracha. It's a beautiful bracha. It's very nice testament in it.
Yeah, but Spartans don't say it. It's not in the new stuff that they don't even.
So whatever, so they should have to leave the room.
Really? According to that stuff, right? Yes. Rabbi there tells me.
They can't stay in the room and not answer amen.
Why not?
What do you mean, why not?
It's a middle of Dallas. The men will go.
Yeah, the rest of the bracha of
Yeah. It's like a chilul Hashem.
It's like somebody saying, wait, if somebody made a wrong bracha on the apple, I have to say amen to it?
No.
He says mezonos on an apple, I have to say amen? No.
Yes, if you have any fiance, let's on an apple.
You know what I mean?
You have to say amen. Whether he's guilty or not, you say amen.
Oh, you have to make a bracha.
Yeah.
We don't, this is not halacha. If you know that he's making bracha right now, you're not allowed to answer amen.
Then you have to say Baruch Shem Kol Malchus V'Amon Boy.
I don't have to say, he has to say.
No, you heard Shem Shemaya Vatol.
Fine, but I don't have to say amen.
Yeah, but the point
I never heard
the point is, but if that's a mistaken bracha, that's different anyway. It's a mistaken bracha. It's not a mistaken
It's not
bracha.
necessary bracha, I don't know.
We need to get Rabbi Kakin here on this debate.
He's an Israelite.
Should debate here in the Shiva.
The show is good.
Ashkenazi wasn't it?
Oh, by the way, we need to meat.
We haven't had meat in a while.
We haven't eaten meat.
I know, but
That's why.
that's what we don't have.
There's a lot of kulas that allow us to eat beef while in the
I guess
What are the kulas?
No good.
What kulas are there?
I remember asking Rabbi Kakin, he explained it to me and it went a little bit over my head, but he explained like why it might be okay for while we're in yeshiva. He said, don't rely on this. It's too hard, but he's like, since you're in yeshiva, you can be stomach on this, and this, and the yeshiva's doing this, and you can afford better, and
What are you trying to
Not debate, just
Now they can.
because Spartan,
and also the visual outcome.
also like when you're guest in someone's home, and they serve you not because of food, you're on
You are?
Depends who cooked it.
Visual akum because
You also cook all the food.
Who makes this food? Not hard?
no, for us it's not an issue because the fire is always run by a Jew and it's owned by a Jew, so we have to someone on those two things.
You better hope that it's not by you.
They always ask you.
No, for us, I think it's
He's that's what he's on half an hour, yes.
Carlos is good. He's a good boy.
I have to find the Baruch Hashem the other thing. He actually also speaks about it? I can't probably not, because in Israel nobody says it. So it's not no there.
So if nobody says in Israel, why would they bother here?
What?
If nobody says in Israel, why would they bother?
In Israel they adapt Minhag HaGra.
It's what?
Minhag HaGra. The Gra held the Gonim had no right to make up their own brachas. The Gonim held they had the right to make up their own brachas. That's Machlokes.
If you're not a Goan, how can you possibly argue against the Goan?
What?
I understand I can make an argument against the Goan if you're a letter generation. Even if they didn't have the argument.
You weren't here before.
You're as a non-Goan, you can't really
Can you repeat that
Well,
again?
that's why they call it the own the Vilna.
The Gonim had what?
This brachas not in Shas. Made in the period of the
That's one
Gonim.
of the reasons Rabbi Akaki says we can't say amen onto it. He also says on like holidays when you guys get into Birkat Kohanim, you guys change one of the brachot in the Amidah during repetition.
Right.
He said we're not allowed to say amen to that one either.
Why?
I forget. Because it's not a bracha that's in the Gemara, so it's considered a fake bracha. But also I think during Gomel, you guys say different bracha, we're not supposed to say amen to that one either, we're supposed to say our own Gomel bracha.
Is it?
Because
Alright, this is a challenge. Tune in tomorrow night.